A train reactor spitting fire. The NFT analyzer. Diving deep into projects. He's the crypto energizer. From your mint coins to tokens. He's got all the intel. Web3 wizardry. He'll show you where to excel. He's got the insights like a digital magician. Unveiling secrets of the blockchain with precision. Wild stories from the web. He's always in the know. Crypto community vibing where the treasures
Good morning
go.
and happy freaking Thursday, guys. Hey, it's Hudah. Wait, Jay, I almost called you Jay Dizzle. Jay Squiggle's your official nickname here, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's funny.
I love it, dude. That was courtesy of Lemon, I think. Yeah, Jay Squiggle works. It really works. Anyway, it's good to see it. Well, I can't see you still. Damn it. Good to partially see you.
Partially in the J Squiggle mantra here, I put the squiggle up on screen since I'll be a little bit mobile today, and I appreciate not being able to wear a three-piece suit today on camera.
Is that an everyday attire for you? Looks good.
Yeah,
Sure.
dude, it's like my pajamas. I wear them all the time.
That's awesome. Actually, somebody should make you some custom three-piece pajama set too. That'd be killer.
That'd actually be really dope.
That'd be cool, right? That'd be awesome.
You know,
Cosmos
it's-
Mike, good morning, guys.
We haven't. I'm not off camera. I'm very laid back. So I'm a t-shirt and jeans guy. I just for whatever reason, it's like I put on the three-piece, and it kind of like subconsciously is like, all right, time to get into business. So
It
just
puts
the
you in the
opposite,
zone. No, that
ironically.
makes a lot of sense. It does. Like I went to a private school. I definitely felt different. Like we had a dress code. I felt different having to put on, the tie, even just a tie. Dress shirt, tuck it in, got the tie going. I even wish, even now, I got 3 kids. Public school. I wish they had a dress code for so many reasons. But part of it's like you're saying, it does get you thinking a little different. You want to act the part. Like you look the part already. It's like then you want to act the part. And it kind of gets you in that zone a little more for whatever reason. Like there's some psychology behind that, right? I would assume so. Anyway, by the way, guys, Jared, remind me, you're mobile today? I think Jared's mobile, so we may lose him here and there. He's half here, whatever. Jared will chime in when he's good. I think he's okay, but we'll see. Perfect man to be here today because we did have another milestone moment in this Chromie Squiggles collection, guys. We've been waiting for this now has it been a couple months? I mean, truthfully, we've been waiting for it a couple of years. The iconic, again, Chromie Squiggle collection. Finally now, 4 years later, Jared will correct me on this if I'm wrong, but I think 4 years since the mint officially is minted out. Number 9999 is now on the blockchain forever, but also in the LACMA wallet. And I think on display at the museum, too. Again, really cool story here. And when I talk about this, guys, I definitely would like to say, it's I'll say it this way. I've incorrectly called it the end of the story for Chromie Squiggles. It's so the wrong way to talk about it, right? It's the end of a chapter, and it's a significant chapter, but Chromie Squiggles are different, man. That is, we throw around historic very casually in this space, but truly you are looking at a historic collection here. And so it is the end of a chapter. A fresh new chapter begins, officially as of yesterday. So it's exciting to see. Jared, welcome back, man. You good?
Yeah, and I'm like rolling blackouts here for the last couple of days. I think they're just doing work on the electrical lines, and every time they like shut it off, it kills my internet, and I gotta go to 5G. So
Gotcha.
my bad.
I followed you into Spaces yesterday, and I heard the same thing there. So kind of expecting
It's like really annoying.
Yeah, no, it's a
But
pain.
is what
but
it is.
Hey,
If that's my only complaint, say la vie.
doing all right. We're doing all right. Okay, I'm going to save the Squiggle conversation, which I can't wait for it. But let's just peek at the market real quick. It's pretty dynamic, man. So sometimes I don't even look at the market until now, right? I save it for the shows. I peek at it first thing in the morning for my Inside NFT update, but then I don't look. And I don't know. I just have the feeling right now like we're entering a really volatile period. I don't know. We've had these couple percent swings over the past few days. So I like to check in on it a little more often just to feel alive a bit. So we're looking right now. Bitcoin did touch 61, guys, which is fantastic. Right now it's 60, 60,000. Hey, almost 61. I'd love to even call it that. ETH at 2,600, Solana at 143. Everything up right now, which is great. Other than if you're an investor in Tether. I wish I understood how that worked, how it gets a little out of whack. And I wonder if there's guys who actually like can trade those stable coins and actually make money, right? If you throw enough money at it, could you actually make money trading stables? That might sound crazy. Whatever. Things I think about. And NFTs. Definitely want to talk NFTs. Jared, once we get through, well, there's a lot of art stuff to talk about, but I do want to talk to you about the Bored Ape Yacht Club and the Doodles and the Cryptopunks, man. I still consider that amazing collection an art collection. It is. As is everything. It's just, to degrees with some of it, but CryptoPunks fits right in with the conversation about art. A lot going on in the CryptoPunks ecosystem the past few days here. So I'm excited about that. Jared and I talked about it briefly right before we went live, just punks in general. So I think we have we got a good meaty conversation there, I think. But then on the NFT side, man, Bored Ape's cooking this week. I mean, really on fire. These guys almost hit 13 ETH here in the past 48 hours, which is really, really impressive to me. Again, Punk's ripping. They got up to 29, almost 30 ETH. So really, really active NFT space right now. A lot of talk about, are we back? Maybe I'll even ask you, Jared, are we back? Do you think we're back?
I think we're flirting with being back, if that makes any sense. I agree with you. I think that we're going to have a little bit of chop. I'm really excited for September and October. So the way I'm looking at this is a little bit of hopium, taking that red pill, so to speak, orange pill, whatever we want to call it, like going into September and October, right? I don't want to get too optimistic, but I am like, I think we talked about this last time. I'm overly bullish. Like directionally, I know where we're going. I'm not worried about some of this interim price action because my perspective is a little bit more long term, but I don't know, man. It feels right.
It does. I like, I was listening to the Nifty guys just before coming on here. I like these guys, right? But I like hearing people who share similar thoughts. And one of these thoughts is that we're not even in the bull market, right? A lot of people are like, oh man, we're halfway through. We're halfway through, right? But I think we got one more leg up. And I definitely think that. But part of me actually thinks we haven't started. So
there's a really good quant, the quant behind Raoul Pal in Real Vision, named Julian Biddle, and he actually just for anybody, full disclosure, like I do chat with him, so like it's like I do have a clear bias, but I think you can find him on X at like Biddle, BITTEL_Julian or Biddle Julian, something like that. But he just posted something this morning about how we're like not even, he's big into the banana zone, with Raoul, that post right there.
Yeah.
And it's basically like, we haven't even started.
Oh, good Lord.
And this is the sort of thing that I don't know if this doesn't get you excited. You must not have like blood pumping through your veins because, it's just so exciting when I see things like this because it's not just our emotions. It's not just our intuition saying like we're on the cusp of things. Like this is undeniable facts, or I shouldn't say facts.
Well,
it's data. It's data that's indisputable. And if it trends like it's shown in the past, then we're in for some like really fun times.
That's the thing. It's okay. I have a question. This is open to anybody. For you, Jared, anybody watching. What was the market cap of Bitcoin in 21, 22? And also the same about ETH. Because, again, I do feel like what's coming is different. Like, different from what we've seen before. Market cap will help me feel out really how different. But the kind of conversation, the kind of news, the kind of policy discussions happening out there, the kind of energy, the growth of the user base, and maybe a little... asterisk there. I don't know that the user base has truly grown right now. It's so hard to know with so many people making so many alt wallets and accounts. It's impossible to know. But the reality is, man, for us to be at the price we're at now, just across the board, with how different this space feels. Fundamentally, it feels different. Fundamentally, it feels bigger. It feels deeper. It feels more mature. It feels like growth has happened nonstop now for years and years and years. And for prices to be where they're at, ETH well below all-time high. Well below all-time high. Bitcoin. Bitcoin's not even close right now. I mean, we're talking what, 10-ish%, something, ballpark, just ballpark. It does not feel right. Something feels off, and I think what feels off is I don't think capitulations happen yet. All this incredible news, incredible stuff we've been dreaming about for years that we knew was coming. It has now been happening, and yet price doesn't reflect any of it. Doesn't make sense. And guys, if you think it doesn't make sense, you're right in feeling that way. It doesn't. It will. In my opinion, it does one day. To me, that's where it's the data shows it, and that's where my faith in what's coming comes into play here.
I appreciate your faith, and I will add on to it saying, if you're sitting there going, dang it, why hasn't it run? I thought it was going to run earlier. We're just in this chop period. It will never come. I would challenge anybody to think about from the other side of the coin of price has barely moved, but it's absorbed the chop of Mt. Gox. It's absorbed the chop of the U.S. government. It's absorbed the chop of the German government, ... And you go down the list and it's like, these are real amounts of capital that have gone into the market and not pushed it down. Whereas like this, again, I've been around Bitcoin for a little bit, and it's, when there's a threat of Mt. Gox selling or something, it gets sold and moves the price in a really nasty fashion. He didn't get it this time. Like, everybody's freaking out over a 10% drop or a 20% drop, and it's like, guys, crypto, like we're here. You can't. My core philosophy, again, longer term perspective, but you can't hope for a 5x if you aren't willing to stomach a 20 or 30% in the opposite direction.
It's a great take. I got to buff my my crypto analytics skills. I need to start looking more at volume, because my gut's telling me the ETFs play a big factor in there. The fact that we did absorb those big blows, really, I mean, those were massive. That is a lot of money. That is a lot of Bitcoin that was put in the market that did get sold. I still think we don't know if the Mt. Gox Bitcoin has really worked its way out. We don't know. Like, some of it, we're getting part of the story, right? We're hearing about when Bitcoin is sent to exchanges. At that point, I know these exchanges have 30 to 60 days to then get it in the hands of creditors, but nobody's really updating us on when that actually happens. And then further from there, if and when those people are actually selling. Now, we've gotten some news about that, right? Individual traders have definitely tweeted out there, hey, I got mine, not selling, which is awesome to see. It's great to see conviction like that. But ultimately, dude, it is amazing how this market has absorbed it. Again, I think it's a lot to do with ETFs. I compare it to Blur. All that extra volume has really cushioned, has softened that. What is the saying? Just soften the landing, I guess, whatever. It's had an effect. That effect is what we're seeing right now. But man, when the sell-off stops, look out. Also, that is why I'm curious about market cap. Beanie made a point earlier. He's like, man, you guys got to understand how, assets with $1 trillion market caps move, and they don't move as easy. So there is this little counter argument of, we're here, it's a magical place. Is it so big now that it can't move the way we are all hoping it can? And I'll tell you this, I'm guilty pretty often of getting into the, Michael Saylor frame of mind where I'm like, yeah, obviously Bitcoin 1 million. Yeah, Bitcoin 5 million, Bitcoin 13 million. And that's the point where it gets silly. There is a scenario where it happens, but I find myself way too easily getting in that mindset without thinking realistically of how could that happen right now. And man, to a degree it can't. All in all, I'm just giga bullish about this space. Do you happen to know, just rough idea, market cap though of those majors? Bitcoin.
Not back in 2020. I can go back and run some charts, but not off the top of my head.
I'm sure, like TradingView, I'm sure would show, right? I'm guessing I could sort. Lemon, I won't do it if you're watching. I'm not going to pull up TradingView. Market tanks whenever I pull it up. But I'm betting funny. There's some kind of filter. Dude, I'm definitely turning into like what's his name? Steve Aoki, or like Clemente. You get in something, you make a move, market does the other. I pull up TradingView and yikes.
That's a funny reference.
Aoki or Clemente?
Aoki, yeah.
The guy's wild.
Like so on brand too.
It's so funny, and I like guys who lean into it. I like guys who just don't give a fuck. It happen for whatever reason. It just happens all the time with him, and I dig it. Okay, fun fact. I didn't know this, guys. I'm curious if you did. yesterday was a special anniversary for Bitcoin. Not that special. Okay, I'll be honest. But Satoshi had debated naming Bitcoin Titcoin. That was as of yesterday. 15 years ago yesterday was when he sent this email proposing to name Bitcoin Titcoin. I never knew. Did you know?
No, I never knew either. I'm glad he ended up with Bitcoin.
It's a
Otherwise, it
better
would just
look.
been another meme, right?
Yeah. Oh, God. That actually gets me thinking there is a Titcoin out there. I mean, obviously, you would assume there is one, but I thought it meant, the obvious. It might have just been a play on the Bitcoin proposal, which is interesting. Again, always fun, degenerate stuff here. He bought Titcoin.org just to prep in case they named it that. On another screen, I'm checking it out for science, guys. Hang on, I'll let you know. Maybe we can.
Yeah, make sure there's no kids in the background.
Yeah, no kidding. Okay. It's looking safe. Oh, all right. We'll give these guys a little promo. There's a podcast. Okay, so Titcoin.org redirects you to BitcoinPodcast.net. I'll check them out later, but that's pretty freaking cool. I dig it. This space is like, dude, it's my favorite. It's just my favorite. Yeah, Satoshi's a freak. That's right, Benny. Will we ever learn who Satoshi is, Jared? And do you buy into conspiracies that it's like the CIA?
I don't buy into the CIA. I do think it's more than one person. But yeah, I think we do in due time. I think that it's going to be interesting because, with just the initial mint that they have and the initial stack of Bitcoin, it'd be, I just love to see it move one day, right? Like to let the lure kind of like start to fly if one of the Bitcoin started moving or something along those lines. It'd be fun. Do I think so? Yeah, I think we will. Is it next year or 20 years or 30 years from now? I'm not smart enough to tell you that, but I do think it takes time.
Yeah.
Like if they're smart enough to get this far without like any discovery, like I think it could keep going.
Yeah, dude. It's one of the most interesting stories. I mean, not even just here in crypto. It's so much bigger than that now. So I do hope we learn one day. Okay, last thing just on the market here. I don't know if you guys peeked it at fees on Bitcoin today. Especially like a couple hours ago, they were insane, absolutely insane. Like priority fee, high priority was something like 13 Bitcoin. It was wild. As far as what that is, I'll tell you this. I went to ord.io, which for the most part, it does let you look pretty live at the mem. I don't want to say it's the mempool, but it's showing you inscriptions. I thought it was FSIC at first. That's a good reminder. I'm going to draw those today at the end of the show. So if you guys got your entry in, great. If you didn't, shit, this is why I need to get AlphaBot rolling. I want to tell you how to get in, but it means 5 minutes of explaining it. So hopefully you were watching the previous two shows. Hopefully you got in, but I will pick winners here at the end of the show. Anyway, I thought it was FSIC getting inscribed, but these are all showing from like a day ago, so I'm not sure it's that. Instead, it turns out that this is Babylon beginning mainnet staking. So I'm assuming it's a lot of people staking Bitcoin. Again, just assuming, my monkey brain, I glanced at this. This is what people are saying is the cause of fees. I just don't know why that sends fees where they're at right now. I guess it doesn't take much. I guess we've seen it on ETH, right? We saw in the peak of market activity, you're paying thousands of dollars on fees. So it could be as simple as it is just this, and maybe does speak to the need for L2's scaling solutions on Bitcoin. I think that's pretty clear. It's needed there too. So there you go. That's why Bitcoin fees are so high today. Crazy shit. Okay. The big event. The big freaking event. Chromie Squiggle 9999. It's fucking beautiful. It's a really, really beautiful output. And some people said it was like a perfectly fitting output too. And all kinds of reasons why. Maybe it's the spectrum. It's a lot of things I don't know enough about to speak about. But what do you think, Jared, about the final output, the final Chromie Squiggle, and the just incredible, iconic Chromie Squiggle collection? And then let's talk about yesterday. There's kind of an event around it, at the very least, a great conversation on X, with the spaces. I don't know at LACMA if there was any IRL event there too. But how are you feeling about the end of this chapter?
to me, it's bittersweet, right? I mean, I love that there's some finality, right? Like with one or two left over, it's not like there's like too much craziness or like the rarities and stuff are going to get thrown off too much by any stretch. But to me, I love that there's finality. There's a final line in the sand. And for anybody who's trying to understand why there's people are saying 10,000, but this is mint 9999. It's because there was a mint zero, which was like usually it was historically and traditionally kind of like an artist mint. They got the first mint, so that's why there's 10,000 pieces, but the numbers don't line up. But that being said, I'm excited and I'm reflecting back on it. With the J Squiggle on name now, like it's obvious that I'm a big Squiggle fanboy, but I think that it's been really fun to be along the journey and to have this staged release of squiggles to allow for different, I'll call it, periods of collectors to acquire them was something that like really inspired me for what I'm doing over at Ape Yacht. But to see the end of it it's an affirmation that every good thing has to come to an end. And quite honestly, I've had the honor of minting one of them. Obviously it wasn't at day one or for the original 0.035, but a couple of years ago at NFT NYC they did a 300 piece mint for charity. And I don't know, like I'm looking back on it, looking at it, and just saying it's going to reside in a wallet for zero transfer provenance. I'm trying to keep it there. And I think that whether it's conscious or subconscious, I mean, full disclosure, my fund bought a squiggle last night. I just think that like there's something subconsciously that says like, okay, it's the end. Now I feel like now it has the permission to ramp up. So I don't know. I'm super bullish on squiggles in general, but this is just a really, really fun. It's a really fun mint. And then going back to the shape, which I think is the original question you asked, that was the first thing that I saw is like the up only, up and to the right.
So cool.
I love squiggles in general for the randomness of the shape, but this in particular I just felt very fitting. Some of them can feel flat, some of them can feel uninspired, but this one just it it felt special.
Yeah, it has like this energy and motion. Can you speak about the spectrum too? Is this is there a name for this color palette, which to me looks like a lot of the others? So I know. Well, my understanding is this is not a super rare one. I actually think that's pretty cool. Yeah. Anything about the spectrum here or the colors?
So it's a normal spectrum. From a spectrum perspective, it's either normal or hyper. This is not a hyper, so it's a normal, but it does fall into that lower color spread, which means you get to see more of the colors. There's 256 possible colors. Sometimes they repeat, sometimes they don't. The lower the color spread, the more colors you'll see. But what I find about this one is there's something called segments, which kind of defines the length of the squiggle. So this is a higher number segment, which allows for like this really, really cool shape to exist.
Man, I love it. Now, do I say it right? Lakma or Lakma?
Yeah, LACMA.
Lakma. Okay. Now their involvement, they hold the squiggle. Do they own the squiggle?
Yeah, it resides in their permanent collection.
Okay. And okay, again, there was a Twitter Spaces. Were there any other events around this? But did you happen to attend any of this? Like, were you on the Twitter Spaces? Were you listening in? Like, what was the conversation? What was the vibe in the art community like?
So in the Squiggle Discord, it was like really, really positive. People were super excited. Man, I don't know about you, but my timeline was just filled with um, people posting nostalgia, past interviews with Snow. So I think it was just it was a historic moment, like you said. It was that final line in the sand, so to speak. Um, but yeah, I was not on the spaces. I unfortunately had a conflict with another meeting that I had set up prior to the announcement. There are some discussions about going. It's not going to be on display at the LACMA, I think, until another week or two. I can go into get the exact date from the Squiggle Down Discord. So there's gonna be some events around its like final display, but it's just cool to be able to think that. And again, like this has been months and months in planning, so it's just been nice to see it all come to fruition, and it's nice to see, at least in the corner of a lack, that a Squiggle will have its place in history, right?
Yeah. It really has been months. I mean, I'm trying to remember when it was first announced, and there was an event around number 9998. So now the second event, and now it's over. And again, like I said, it's not the end for Squiggles. It's just like Cryptopunks. It's this thing that just has this legacy and lore that really, really, truly, guys, never will end. But I guess to that point, what's next for Snowfro? I don't know if anybody knows, but you're the best person to ask, I think, here right now. Like, has he hinted? Like, what does he work on next? How do you? I mean, this is an interesting question. Maybe how do you one up it? And I don't know that you ever do, and I don't think anybody would look at their creative outputs exactly that way. I don't know. Maybe you do. Maybe you do always want to do bigger, better, and challenge yourself. But yeah, what does a guy like Snowfro do? Granted, he's done multiple collections since this, but this thing's a juggernaut. I wonder where he goes from here.
I've been on the peripheral. Full disclosure, I'm not like, I don't have like Snow on speed dial by any stretch. But I think that, to me, like, this is intended to be a standalone project, and his mission has always been about the advancement of the space, both art, generative art, and digital collectibles. So, if from a historian right now, like the floor on these things is 4.5 ETH. So I mean, you're out 10 plus K, right? For a Squiggle. I mean, that's not for the faint of heart by any stretch. That's a floor Squiggle, right? You have to remember these things minted for 0.035 ETH, or roughly 20 to 35 bucks, depending on the ETH price at the time. And he made it 10,000 for accessibility. The intent was for this to be somewhat accessible to people, but just like punks, right? Like, people pick up on it, people hoard them, and they become inaccessible. And that's why you've seen through his subsequent collections, the forward slashes more accessible. Heart and Craft, 38,000 of them.
Still open too, I think.
Or still open, yeah. Yeah, it's
wow.
still open. I think it's technically capped at 1 million pieces, but it's lost a little bit of momentum. Or maybe it's 42. It's a lot. And then the friendship bracelets, was a free piece that he gave to, holders of art blocks. And there's 38,000 pieces there. Maybe that's where I got the 38. And the craziness there is that, I've talked to him about it. Like, he didn't want, like, those things ran up to 1E4. He didn't want it to,
the
like,
friendship bracelets.
Yeah,
Wow.
they weren't intended to be these like financialized things. It was just like, it was a gift. So I say all that to say, I don't know what Snow's thing is. Art Blocks has been on somewhat of a hiatus, but I've got to imagine you'll see Squiggles pop up in more museums. That's probably, wink, wink, what you'll start to hear in the coming months.
Love that.
And for Snow, I think he's always ahead of the curve. He was helping do nodes on Ethereum. He claimed punks, right? Like, he started Art Blocks. So in my heart of hearts, I just believe that he's thinking of something and building something that will be mind blowing for the rest of us.
Man, it's incredible. Yeah, he's just a different dude, a really, really special dude. And we've got a bunch of those. We have a bunch. Hang on. We have a bunch of those kind of guys in the space, but nobody like him. He's just a unique guy, a character, and we're truly lucky to have people like him that really they reflect very well in this space, in a space that really needs that, right? I mean, remember the McDonald's thing that happened yesterday? We have to fight that image, and it's guys like Snowfro and what he does that absolutely is the counterpoint to anything like that. So beautiful to see. Again, the collection iconic. I do love that final output. Man, can't wait to see what's next. And it sounds like museums are next, which is pretty damn cool. There's more art stuff going on, by the way. Like, really, art's feeling really nice, and we've talked about it bubbling up. Over the past month or two here, there is some cool art happenings, including some mints Before I get to that, actually, Drew, by the way, thank you for this. Breaking news. Guys, the Magic Eden token has been announced. Okay, this is awesome. I don't know why I do that corny shit, but I will always do corny shit. All right. The Magic Eden Foundation announced the ME token. First ME, or ME, will be adopted by Magic Eden, the largest Bitcoin DApp, NFT platform, and RunesDex. The ME claim will be on Magic Eden Wallet, available on iOS and Android. After the claim, ME incentives will live in the wallet. I don't know, guys, if you've seen this, and it's been out for not very long, 30 minutes or so. Do we have details anywhere about what this token's going to be for? What can you do with it? And I'm always hoping, dude, I've always hoped that if a marketplace like this implements a token, it's a token you can buy any NFT with across any chain. And I have a feeling that's where this heads, amongst other things. Buy whitelists, buy, sell whitelists, I think would be amazing. I wonder what else, but this is one of those milestone moments, at least for Magic Eden. And I know a lot of people have been waiting for this, guys. I hope your Magic Eden diamonds are related to this. We'll find out. Was this on your radar, Jared, or is something you were looking forward to?
I have to be honest, it was not on my radar, and it's largely due to the fact that I think there's a lot of marketplaces who have this. I mean, full disclosure, like, I advise a marketplace that's implementing similar stuff. So I think that this is, while it is exciting for me, this one particularly wasn't on my radar. I do like how it's going to unlock utility for collectors and patrons. And in my opinion, OpenSea missed like a freaking huge opportunity early on to do something like this. But yeah, Magic Eden specifically is not on my radar, but I primarily use something else because of my my affiliation.
Definitely. Is that something you can mention or want to shout out or anything?
I'm in the process of like negotiating the final terms, so
Gotcha.
but maybe soon.
It's OpenSea, guys. There we go.
No, it's definitely
no.
not OpenSea.
No, that's super cool. Well, when it's done, when it's a done deal, obviously you're welcome to break that news here, wherever you want. Okay, the Magic Eden token, I'm just seeing if there's any other details here. But regardless, I just know it's something people are looking forward to. And man, if we're all hoping NFTs are coming back and feeling like they maybe are starting to, a nice stimmy's going to help for damn sure. Were you here, by the way? I think you were. I know you were. How many of you guys were also here for the SOS airdrop? Because I think SOS, no, we don't talk about it anymore. Of course, it's years beyond that. But SOS was probably, man, the single most important thing to kick off our bull market in 2022, period. I can't think of anything else that was more impactful. Like, everyone I knew that was trading in 2021 got a big fat SOS stimmy. I'm talking like thousands of dollars, most of them tens of thousands, maybe some of them hundreds of thousands. Like, that was a big deal. And we've never recreated that magic, even though we've tried, right? Over and over. It's blockchains giving these stimmies, it's platforms. And none of them have really worked, but it's probably hard to do it. They did because it didn't work. Who's heard of SOS since then? Nobody. It's not a thing. I mean, if it's a thing, we don't know what they're doing, but man, SOS. Crazy. Oh, Cosmos, Cosmos is saying it's Blur. Okay, so we got Blur and OpenSea. Throw in your other predictions, guys. Maybe we'll throw up a little polymarket bet on this. Yeah, that'd be fun. That'd actually be cool.
Funny.
Somebody needs to make a... Yes, dude, absolutely. Like, insider trading, be damned, yes. I want to see a predictions market like that, but where anybody can get, different bets or markets up there. That'd be cool. I'm sure it exists, but... okay, hoping it's a big fat stimmy for everybody here. We'll see. It's great. It's cross-chain. Like, this is kind of everybody's going to get a little piece of it. Again, we'll see when there's details. We'll certainly be sharing it. Back to art. Okay, where to start? There's a few things. Okay, talking about... We got to get to punks, too. Make sure I don't forget that, by the way. But when we talk about CryptoPunks and it being an indicator for NFTs being back, for me, it very much is, right? NFTs don't come back until punks find their bottom, till punks rebound from that bottom, till we see big days of sales in the punks collection. And we certainly saw all of that this week. 47 CryptoPunk sales just 2 days ago. Biggest day of sales since November of last year. So going back, what, 10-ish months? Honestly, it was one of the biggest days, period. I mean, I think at the top we've seen days, with 100, 110, 115 punk sales, but 47 is quite a great number. And we saw the iconic Punk 5822, the top selling Cryptopunk ever, change hands. Now, okay, there was a private sale. We don't know what it sold for. Are people in your circles, Jared, talking about that Punk and maybe throwing around numbers of what it actually did sell for?
I think it's all hearsay for the time being. Um, I'm hearing crazy low numbers, which does not make sense to me because we saw two aliens move for 15 million publicly earlier in the year, so I can't imagine somebody's gonna lowball it for like 3 or 4 million. It doesn't make sense to me. But again, to me, it's about the hype, it's about the attention, and it's about bringing eyes back to punks. So, are people talking? Yes. Does anybody have like a definitive number or able to back it up by blockchain transactions? The answer to at least within my limited circle is no.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we saw somebody, and this was clearly a joke, but we saw the number 1,500 ETH thrown out there, which is what, 3-ish mil. Actually, probably is that a little more? Let me think. I can't do math. It's low. We'll say that it's low considering previous sale was 8,000 ETH, and then also three sold this year, right? For I want to say 6,000, then 4,500 ETH, and then 4,000 ETH. So, to your point, some big alien punk sales this year. Now, I did hear from somebody else who I trust entirely, but also don't know their source, but said it was for $6 million, which I think works out to about 2,400 ETH. The lowest, if that's true, easily the lowest alien punk sale this year. Maybe it was loss harvesting. Maybe, it might not have been, I don't want to say I don't want to call this an illegitimate sale, but it might not be like the best representation of what the value of these things, if it did indeed go for that price. So nobody knows. All that's just speculation. Just great to see some movement. And look, I always say when NFTs come back, I think they need to come back, but with expectations reset. And part of that resetting is one about the utility and resetting expectations on what projects need to do for you, which truthfully is nothing. I guess that's different depending on your product, but also the value of NFTs. I just think we need a reset across the board in order for those good times to come back. Because, man, if things come back and we don't have that conversation, traders don't change their mindset a little bit, projects don't change their mindset too, we just repeat it again and people get wrecked. So to some degree, seeing a big punk, and if it did sell cheaper, I think is kind of good and healthy for this space. There it is. My rant's over, but I can't wait to learn more about that.
To me, I think that at the end of the day, like punks are iconic. Everybody wants to be a punk. I don't know about your timeline, but my timeline this week was filled with people getting their first punk, being proud of their first punk, paying up for their first punk. And then I think even Punks OTC posted something about the number of unique punk owners has steadily been on the rise. Like, this is a badge of honor for early Web3. I think it's going to be there. I think no matter what the individual who paid for the alien punk, to me, like the market is market, and if they were tax loss harvesting, like to me, it's like, good on you. You allegedly you're gonna have like a 16 to $20 million loss. Some people are getting concerned that NFT, the promise that NFTs are going to be a leveraged bet on Ethereum isn't going to play out. I think that when I see stuff like this is to me a sign that we're in the max pain moment, and it gives me optimism, right? Like if you go into article.io, right, like you can plot all this stuff, and you have to be a pro member for it, but like the historic lows on punks has been 50K USD, right? Squiggles has been about 10K USD. Like these are bouncing off of those points with conviction. And what's really encouraging to me is it's not a fund that are coming in. These are individual collectors. These are like the networked aspect of these assets is starting to play out in a very intuitive fashion. And to me, that's really exciting to watch when it's not just some institution coming and buying up our JPEGs, which is ironic coming from me, right? Because I run a fund, which is arguably an institution, but it's individuals. And the thing that gives me more and more conviction in the CryptoPunks in particular is that sense of pride that individuals have when they're purchasing these. I love seeing my timeline fill up with this.
Yeah, they're special. They really are. Same thing as far as vibe when you just see them being moving and being talked about. And I'll say this: I get really excited, and I always have the same thing I write about it when I see punks at the top of the collection rankings. I always say punks their rightful place on top of the throne or whatever, something like that. But I feel that way, right? So especially when they're kind of feel like they're down and out. Seeing them roaring back to life and sitting there at number one like they were the other day, like 3.5 million in sales, and they stayed there for a few days. It just felt good. It felt good. I like seeing them there again. Kind of like I talk about Snowfro being such a great guy to represent this space. CryptoPunk's the same thing. Seeing them, kind of get in the spotlight, seeing them, the story that mainstream news is talking about. I love that. That looks good for all of us too. So I celebrate when they're doing well. And I celebrate when new holders get in and get their punk. And I celebrated my buddy here, Marty, not losing his punk, delisting his punk in time to not have it swept up a couple days ago. So GG's, Marty. Don't fucking list that again. Ever. I changed my PFP to a V1 punk. We talked about this briefly, man. We should talk. Actually, hang on. Okay. Hold off on V1 punks. I do want to talk about it, but I want to throw... I do want to throw a little more art up on the screen before we get deeper into punks and like the collectible stuff. And it is my other indicator, okay? My other indicator for NFTs being back, right? It's punks. My second one is Xcopy. I watch the Xcopy sales bot, and I watch it pretty closely, like, right? Have notifications or alerts turned on because it's a similar thing. When NFTs start getting close to back, I usually see that led by a bunch of Xcopy sales. And we saw this earlier in the year. We saw this bot just flying. And I don't want to say that's happening right now, but we're certainly seeing a few really big sales yesterday. 30 ETH for the State of Us, which sometimes I see Xcopy pieces that I've never seen before, right? And I feel like I've glanced over his entire catalog, but I don't remember this one. And it's amazing. No Favor sold for 19.
So I will say
20.
the one that you just had up was, I think, sold into a WETH. So like that was just like some WETH bot. But the other big sales was by, ironically, I mentioned this individual earlier, Raoul Paul, from Real Vision, who's just, I mean, gone asymmetrically long on Beeple and Xcopy.
Yep. Smart man, very
which
smart
I
man.
love, right? Like I love. It's so funny. He posted yesterday. Like he's going on some like 3-week trip in like the Sahara or somewhere in Africa, and not going to be available. And all of a sudden, you just see a shitload of punk or Xcopy sales take off for him. So I was like, "How about that for right before you leave?"
No kidding. Oh man, these are amazing. Again, they're just maybe there's deeper cuts, or again, I missed them. Some of these I missed. I don't recall seeing this one. They're fantastic, but point here though, for me it's an indicator. For me, I watch this stuff, and when I see those big purchases, some of these guys, picture like Gordon Goner when he goes shopping. How many people follow that, right? It is what it is. And Xcopy has a similar effect when you see his pieces move. There's sometimes a lot of buying that follows that. And if it doesn't happen every cycle like that, often enough where I absolutely look at it, throw the FX hash sales bot in, it's a similar thing. Just things you get used to. You have your own ways to measure what's back. Those are mine. When I see artwork selling like this, like the FX hash stuff, the spidey senses start tingling. So I'm not saying that yet. It's just a few. They're just big ones, and I'm watching. Things are looking interesting out there.
But so, I mean, let's call a spade, right? Like I was on a Spaces yesterday. I think I saw you in there, and I talked about being a student of the market, right? I don't know about you, but I'm still a little fish in this big crypto pond, right? Like I can't move markets. So I've learned to observe, and I look at somebody like Raoul Paul, who has, and again, I mentioned Julian Biddle earlier. Julian posted something that showed the users and adoption of Solana versus Ethereum last period and how the correlation to price. And it gave me the conviction to start buying Solana at a really low entry price because, the facts, right? Low relative to where it is now. So to me, facts are facts. And when you see somebody like this moving in advance of quote unquote maybe the normies or the popularists, like there's something to be observed about this.
Yep, dude. Abso-freaking-lutely. Abso-freaking-lutely. Uh, keep your eyes on this stuff, guys. That's it. And of course, keep your eyes just here. I will certainly make sure to mention when I'm seeing these kind of things happening. But that's the point. Things are starting to happen. I'm feeling pretty great about what's coming. Now, we saw some mints here in the past few days, so I want to give a little put the spotlight on that a little bit. We saw on Bitcoin Brutal Edge from Harto and Far. I'm gonna be really honest with you. This is personal, my opinion. I almost don't even want to share it, but I don't care. Like, I like to be told if I'm wrong, why I'm wrong, challenge the way I think about this stuff. I'm starting to get a little soured on the frequency of mints, and truthfully, that's on me. That's on me. I'm soured because why? I want it. I don't want to keep spending money on it. It keeps happening. But I'll tell you this: there's something about the process I'm not enjoying, and maybe I mention it because I know a lot of other people are feeling similarly. So my comments here that I'm going to make and my thoughts about this are not about the art. I think the art's really, really cool. It's a really, really different looking collection, but it's not about the art itself. It's about the process. It's about this is Jared. If you're not familiar, this is a really deep collection as far as there's 3 or 4 collections involved with what's ultimately coming here, which is another mint, right? Ultimately, Harto and Far's team have teamed up for their collaboration. Now, there's something coming down the road that's been teased, but to be able to participate in that, you're going to need to have some of their previous collections. So with Harto, it's Floriforms. With Far, it's his Buzz collection. All these, by the way, were free or basically just paying fees. I love that part. But then it's adding more collections on and more collections that you need to have one of each of them to be able to get the final thing. Again, we choose what we're going to participate in, but something about this soured me. I don't know what it is. That said, 4,300 people ended up collecting, or we'll say at least 4,300 were collected. And all that said, I bought one. I did, because I do love it enough, and I do want to be part of it. But how tricky? Maybe I don't even need you to comment on that kind of maybe gamification of things, because that is subjective. That is personal taste. I'm curious how tricky it is then as a builder of a platform to balance those kind of things, to keep people engaged and also balance, collectors' wallets, right? How liquid they are. How difficult is that? And it's got to be very difficult.
Yeah, I mean, you're in an attention economy, and no matter if you're, selling, art, meme coins, or even just a show like this, right? So getting and maintaining attention, especially through creative dynamics, it's important. I mean, between you and me, it's something I chat with Chat GPT to ideate about, and other successful builders all the time. These dynamics are intended to be fun, and then finding a balance between like rewarding loyalists and creating what I like to call crack fiends, right? People looking for their next hit is a balance that I don't think anybody has executed flawlessly on. But I think there are, again, going back to this theme of being a student of the game, there are a lot of examples to follow. And I think that the cool thing is we're early enough in this space that we get to we get the one of my new favorite phrases, we get to fuck around and find out, right? Like, and pivot, right? Like, I think that that's one of the things, like, as an innovator and trying to push a lot of these frontiers forward, being able to not only experiment, but like have permission to misstep, as long as it's done with like positive intent, I think is awesome. And I love to support those types of builders.
Yeah, I love that a lot. And this is why, like, I'll eat shit sometimes, maybe saying things that I don't know, that maybe I'll probably even regret, or the words don't come out right, but I don't care. Like, I do like to be wrong about things. I do. I actually love it. Because I like to learn. I like to have my mind changed. And so even me just processing this out loud is saying I didn't like it. And, again, there's just something about, I just didn't like it. I'll just say that. The artwork, it wasn't a comment about the art. It's just, buy more to then do the next thing, buy more. And then to have it compared to a show, which it's the exact same thing. I also want attention for the things I'm building. It's the same thing. And it's silly of me to not like or respect that other people have to do that too. They want to do it. They have to. And there is a balance. And maybe you don't always get it right. And for all I know, this was the right way. I don't know, but I like to be able to do these things out loud. So if you guys ever hear me say something stupid, by the way, just know it's usually related to that, me trying to learn and understand. So these kind of things I will always talk about, right or wrong, but always will. Anyway, not just that collection yesterday, which that was a great sign, guys. That brought in like $200,000, right? For 4,200 minted, they were about $50 a piece. Not just that, some great artwork over on FX Hash, which I did mint something yesterday from Leander Herzog. You familiar, Jared? I'll put it up on screen here. You may be having connection issues too. And also, kids, I get it.
Nope, it was a connection issue.
Oh, cool.
Freaking, what was the question?
There was other great art. There's stuff going on right now that I minted yesterday. A piece from Leander Herzog and what is this, Millian Mory? Are you familiar with Leander?
I am.
So cool, right? Yeah. Are you aware of this collection?
Not this collection, to be
so
honest.
Cool. It's so cool. Oh my goodness,
Yeah.
I love it. Here, I'll put it up on screen. It might like freeze us up a little bit, guys. But dude, this is over on base. It's 0.0025 ETH.
Love that.
Dude, yes. It's open for 2 weeks, so there's no rush to it. But like most of his works, man, feels very like retro. Most of his works you can scroll, and I like infinite artworks. Not I don't like that trendy thing where you see people on like Instagram pinching and zooming, and I like that's fine. Vector stuff, if that's what that is neat. But his stuff, like you literally can just scroll, and the artwork is always changing colors and some of the patterns. I don't know why. That's the stuff that catches me. Like I know what my type is. This is my type. But this is audio too. It's really freaking cool. I'm gonna put one on the screen. I love his art. I like audio-visual stuff. It's probably my favorite. I do think audio-visual is going to have its time in the spotlight, too. It hasn't yet. There's been some phenomenal pieces of art that have done okay, have done decent, but I don't think they've ever really, really, like, exploded yet, and I do think it will at some point. Or maybe it's actually, like, challenging enough or it won't, but we'll see. Hey, you'll get some echo on this just if you talk, so just a heads up here while I let the audio come through. I mean, it's cool, and it is a little dynamic. That does change a bit, but this is, dude, I will have this up on the side for hours and hours and hours. And I always picture I'm in a room with displays everywhere with artwork like this always up. I love this stuff.
I love that. And this is part of the reason why I love doing shows is, I have my lane and you have yours, and when they match up, like this is awesome. And, especially for an entry point, that's very attractive, especially long-term. It's going to be kind of ironic coming from a guy who runs a platform, but, especially being able to pick one up on secondary that you absolutely love, like that's really fun too, man.
Yeah, a price like that, it really lends itself to that. I mean, it's, with a big generative collection, I always go rarity hunting. I like the ones that stand out. And sometimes even the ones that stand out, I don't like at first, but I challenge myself to see why it's so different from the rest and, what makes it different. And usually I end up falling in love with it too. Initially because it's rare, but then ultimately, again, even deeper because why is it rare? And then what does that mean? Where does it fit in this collection? I don't know. I just love generative art so much. And there's another mint coming today, from Halo 99999. I've collected them on FX Hash before, and they've been on, I think, Art Blocks as well at some point. I know Verse, but it's another really interesting looking, kind of interactive collection here. Looks like you can maneuver around it. See if I can get that to work. This probably will fuck up my browser a bit, but let's see. Yeah, this one's probably going to be very resource intensive.
Can you imagine that, like on the display on the side of a building that's like 3 stories tall? I don't know, like.
Oh, I can definitely imagine.
So
It reminds me of Winzy Yawanawa as far as picture these things when it's all you can see. It's so big in front of you. I love it. I love digital art. There's something about it, and I really can't wait till we get to wearing Vision Pros all the time. I know that'll never happen, but whatever form they take next, I can't wait to have this stuff and be in it, be surrounded by it. It's one thing on my screen. Obviously, love it. Spend hours and hours and hours with this stuff, but to be able to take it that next level and really feel like you're in it and part of it, and it's just this massive, overwhelming spectacle. Can't wait for that. I tell you that.
So I
Uh,
don't know if I use this analogy. You bring up Vision Pro last week, but I started like ideating around this concept of I fudded kind of the iPhone 1 when it first came out because the browser was so slow. You know, it was on like the E internet connection. And I was like, dude, this is silly. I'll just go onto my computer and I can Google it way faster. Well, by an iPhone 3, I'd bought an iPhone, right? And I've been a sucker ever since. I think the Vision Pro, albeit clunky and not necessarily like a reality to walk around with this big set of goggles with a battery pack in your pocket now. I do like the Meta Ray-Bans, and I think
dude,
that
those look
there's
amazing.
right, and I think that there's like a future in which you could be there, and that to me gives me the conviction of knowing that like Apple doesn't stop at like V1. You know, like I think like what we're exploring right now is for like V6 to V15. And then when you realize that like there's a commitment to this and a longevity, they wouldn't put all those resources at it just to shelve it, in my opinion. You know, that's where I'm like, okay, AR VR is a thing. You know, it might not be a thing as quickly as we see it because we're in the middle of it. But if we all know we're getting there, you know, what does that look like and what does that do for art? I think that that's kind of the ideation I'm starting on right now.
Yeah, I it's a good take. I totally agree. It's clearly going to be a very special like product and new pillar, and there's no way it's not going to be everywhere and touching everything. Just VR in general. Ray-Ban, you know those Ray-Ban Oculus. I don't know if I know it's Meta. I don't know if it's Oculus officially. Whatever that is, they figured out something that actually works. Right. Everyone I know who has tried that says it's legit. So dude, I want to try those badly. I definitely want to try those out. Um, but there again, I just wanted to put some great art in front of people that is happening right now. Those couple collections still live. Will be for again a couple weeks. There's cool stuff coming over on Bitcoin. This is something I've been looking forward to for months. It's this generative like kind of trees collection from a group that I really like. So looking out on Bitcoin for great art. You guys still have auctions live, right? On 8
Yeah,
Nap.
so yeah, so appreciate you bringing that up. The if you go to 8nap art, one of the cool dynamics that I've you talk about fuck around and find out. One of the dynamics that I wanted to do is create a you can go into the collections tab and click into Delta Sauce. And there's actually a really dope piece up for auction right now. Um, if it ever decides to load. But the one of the things here is there is an option for artists to put some of their pieces into a called a long tail auction. So what happens is the last 90 pieces of this collection are going to go into an individual piece auction. And the intent of this is one, to be able to buy something kind of like on secondary, but be direct, from that provenance, have a direct line of provenance. But more than that, I really do believe we're in this attention economy. And if we can create postable moments to keep the art at the forefront of the collectors, that's what this is intended to do, right? And then just if, somebody, two people start bidding it up and that means more primary for Delta, that's a bonus, right? Especially in a place where we've dropped secondary and royalties down to zero on this collection and a few other things. Like this is intended to keep Delta's dope work at the forefront of any artist actually who releases on 8nap. But yeah, so this is piece number 3 out of 90 that will go into individual auctions. So, to keep attention on 8nap art, to come to the site and visit it on a daily basis. But more than that, keep attention onto this art and the project that Delta's released.
Dude, absolutely freaking love it. Awesome stuff. Let me pull up your account. Let's go through the follows, who you got to be following, what's coming up next. But speaking of, what do you have coming up next?
So we're a platform that's predicated on quality over quantity. So our next one will be, and for those who aren't aware, there is a pass for 8nap art. There's a couple actually up on secondary right now for a decent deal. But in being a pass holder, you get guaranteed mints within a mint period of all the artists. They come at a discount um, relative to the public. So the philosophy here is you're automatically in the green. But more than that, we're just lining up artists for 2025. I don't know if it's official. I can say it yet, but I'll leak it out a little bit just for you. Is
Nice.
Patrick Amadon, who I'm like super stoked on, is going to be one of the 2025 artists. I'll say that in confidence, and I've got 3 others lined up. But we're just rolling out again quality over quantity. So September is most likely going to be an addition. It'll be a free mint for the pass holders, and then there will be some public ones. I'm really fascinated with this concept of networked art and trying to create a accessible art, if that makes any sense, and especially for up and coming artists. Red Rum, who's another phenomenal AI artist, will be
Yes.
releasing in the October-November range, and then Derek, who's an amazing photographer, will probably close out the year, and then we'll start 2025 with Corey Haber and Patrick Amadon, and then a few other really great artists. So
Wow.
that I haven't announced yet. So yeah, I'm stoked. We're finding a cadence now where I'm trying to get every 4 to 6 weeks a great art out there, and I think generically every other month, because these long form releases take a lot out of me to like network. I mean, it actually here's a really I don't do a great job championing myself all the time, but I just placed so another point, there are some pieces for private placement on the Issues project. So I have about 100 pieces in a wallet. You can probably discover what that wallet is that I am placing with collectors. And Derek Edwards from Collab Currency, a really, really great collector, just purchased 12 of them. So we have, we're starting to put the art into diamond-handed people who aren't going to flood the floor but are rather going to be, contributing to that concept of a thousand true fans. So that takes a lot of effort, especially on the front end. So really, I try to do a long form collection every other month, and then fill in, with the additions and a few of these other pieces in between. But the intent is to stay at the top of everybody's timeline and just kind of like what you were saying, bring dope art to the forefront over and over and over again.
I love it. I see you everywhere now too. I mean, always out there and active. So kudos to you, man. And again, the Issues drop was amazing. That is a killer lineup you got coming too. So just awesome, awesome stuff, man. GG's all around there. Dude, why don't we? We got a wrap, but let me go ahead and throw up our whitelist giveaway. And let's pick our winners here. Look, any snags if anything goes wrong, I'll just do it offline. But I'd love to see who wins. Jared, I don't think you saw, but we're giving away some whitelist to FSIC. It is a little miner. It's going to earn you some tokens called FB over in Fractal Bitcoin. It's like a scaling solution on Bitcoin. A lot of hype, a lot of energy behind it. So we got 5 whitelist courtesy of my brother Tickle Snarf. So thank you, sir. But let's pick. Let's see who won. Let me make sure I got this right. I got the right tweet. I got 5 winners. You got to follow FSIC and Crypto Slam. I think it looks good. Let's let it rip. Okay, 34 entries loaded. Followed the instruction. I feel bad when people retweet my tweet and didn't follow the instruction, and I wish I could give them a chance to do over, but can't.
Yeah, we'll learn.
They'll learn. Okay, looking good. Begin draw. 5 winners. Error. What the fuck? Yeah, this is why I was worried or thinking it might not happen. Winner count is 5. We got the tweet. Again, I'm not going to let this take any longer, really, but I think it looked right. Yep. No, that's wrong. Shows 1. I might just do this offline. I hope I have your guys' trust at this point. There will be no fuckery.
This happens to me sometimes. Just screen record it, and then if anybody doubt
That's a
you.
good point.
It's all there. I mean, I have a whole file for this sort of thing because it's
That's
things
smart.
can be gamified, but again, I'm in the business of long-term trust. So if anybody has any suspicions, it's like, hey, here's the file.
Yep.
Here's the roll. We're all good.
Yeah. Well, it happened to work this time. That's awesome. I'm
Oh,
gonna get
brilliant.
AlphaBot set up for the next time, right? Like that just. I think that's the easiest way to do it going forward. I
Yeah.
just got to make sure I don't go plug in a Discord server and stuff because I just don't want to go through the hassle. But it's a better way to do it than this. Anyway, congrats to Bolt, Cristianato, JB710, Whirly Girl. Awesome seeing you win. Jay Wise and Cosmos. Know all of them, but one. So congrats. Awesome to see you guys winning. It's a real. I'm probably gonna be minting that thing. So. On that note, guys, thank you for tuning in. Appreciate the hell out of you guys. And Jared, of course, man, thanks for giving us your hour plus, man. Always a treat to talk with you. Afternoon show, by the way, 4:30 p.m. Eastern time. I'm not on it. You guys voted me off. So Henry and Joe, I'll be watching with you guys. In fact, I'll probably be in the chat chatting with you guys, but should be fun. Guys, have a great day. Jared, again, thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you for the space, man. This is awesome.
Anytime. We'll see you guys next week. See ya.